The burial of a toxic Nazi submarine. Deep down in the murky depths of the Norwegian Sea, there's a sunken Nazi submarine that's been poisoning the water for decades. The sub, U-864, was on a secret mission to deliver jet parts and mercury to Japan in 1945, when it was suddenly intercepted and sunk by an enemy British submarine. The mercury, which was stored in 1,800 canisters, has been leaking from the wreck ever since, posing a major threat to the environment. To stop the leakage from doing more damage, the Norwegian government has decided to bury the submarine under rubble. A Dutch company was hired to carry out the upcoming operation, which will involve using a special rig to dig around the sub and cover it up with sand and gravel. The operation will cost about $31 million and will take about 2 years to complete. The burial of the submarine is expected to reduce the risk of mercury contamination and protect the ecosystem. But multiple environmentalists have argued that the burial won't be enough and that the mercury canisters should be removed altogether. They worry that the burial could actually have the potential to damage the wreck and cause more leakage in the future. The fate of U-864 is a reminder of war and the need for responsible disposal of hazardous waste. The submarine was once a weapon of mass destruction, but now it's a rising source of environmental destruction. 6. Brain-eating amoeba. The brain-eating amoeba, or Naegleria fowleri, is a microscopic organism that likes to live in warm and shallow fresh water bodies like lakes, rivers, and hot springs. They're also found in soil and poorly chlorinated swimming pools. Although it's harmless when swallowed, it can cause a fatal infection of the brain when it enters the body through the nose. The infection, known as primary amoebic meningoencephalitis (PAM), is rare but almost always deadly. According to the CDC, only 34 cases were reported in the United States between 2008 and 2017. Most of the cases happened in southern states like Florida and Texas, where the climate's warmer. But a few cases have also been reported in northern states during short heat waves. The symptoms of PAM include fever, headache, nausea, vomiting, stiff neck, hallucinations, and seizures. The symptoms appear within 14 days of exposure and progress quickly. The infection causes inflammation and damage to the brain tissue, which can lead to coma and death. There's currently no vaccine or specific treatment for PAM. The only drug that's shown effectiveness in fighting it is miltefosine, an anti-parasitic medication. But it's not widely available and must be administered early during the infection. So, prevention is ultimately the best way to avoid PAM. To not get PAM, people should avoid swimming or diving in warm and stagnant freshwater bodies where the amoeba could be living. If they do swim in these kinds of waters, they should use nose clips or hold their nose shut to stop water from entering into their nostrils. They should also avoid using tap water or unfiltered water for nasal irrigation, such as those done with neti pots. Instead, they should use sterile or boiled water. The brain-eating amoeba is rare but still a deadly threat that can be avoided by taking simple precautions. People should be aware of the signs and symptoms of PAM and seek medical attention immediately if they suspect a possible infection. 5. Oil spills. Oil spills are a major threat to both marine ecosystems and wildlife. They happen when oil leaks from tankers, pipelines, refineries, drilling rigs, storage facilities, boats, or other sources and get into the water. Oil spreads quickly over the surface of water, forming a thin slick that can cover large areas at a time. It can also sink, mix with water, or form tar balls, which are dangerous to ecosystems. Oil spills can kill plants and animals that live in the water. It can coat the fur of mammals like sea otters or the feathers of birds like pelicans, making them lose their insulation and ability to fly. Oil can also poison animals that accidentally ingest it while trying to clean themselves or their prey. It can affect the reproduction, growth, and survival of fish and shellfish populations while contaminating the food chain. Oil spills also damage habitats like coral reefs, mangroves, and wetlands. One of the most devastating spills in history was the Deepwater Horizon spill, which happened back in 2010. The disaster released about 4.9 million barrels of oil into the Gulf of Mexico. It affected thousands of miles of coastline and hundreds of species of wildlife. The spill also had huge economic and social impacts on the fishing, tourism, and oil industries in the region. Believe it or not, oil spills are not rare events. According to the International Tanker Owners Pollution Federation, ITOPF, there were 79 large oil spills from tankers worldwide from 2010 to 2019. In the United States, there were 137 oil spills in 2018 alone, mostly from pipelines and boats. But most of these spills were small, containing less than 1 barrel of oil. The large and catastrophic oil spills that cause severe damage to ecosystems and wildlife are less frequent, but still happen every few years. Cleaning up oil spills is a challenging and expensive task that requires both science and technology. Different methods are used depending on the type, amount, and location of the oil, like skimming, burning, dispersing, or containing the substance. NOAA's Office of Response and Restoration provides scientific tools to guide spill response decisions and assess the impacts and restoration efforts of natural resources. 4. Shipwrecks. Shipwrecks are the remains of boats that have sunk or crashed in the water. They're fascinating to explore and study, but can also pose many dangers to humans and the environment. Some of the many hazards of shipwrecks are toxic materials. Accidental wrecks often include harmful compounds that are difficult to remove once they leak into the water. These materials can include oil, fuel, explosives, radioactive waste, and more. They contaminate the water, the sediment, and the marine life, which can cause health problems and major ecological damage. For example, the SS Qiange was a steamer that exploded in 1948 near Shanghai. It killed thousands of people while releasing oil and debris into the water. Habitat destruction is another side effect of shipwrecks. When a vessel collides with a hidden coral reef, it can endanger crucial marine ecosystems. Reefs are home to a rich diversity of life and provide many benefits to the environment, such as food, tourism, coastal protection, and carbon storage. When shipwrecks destroy the coral, they reduce their biodiversity and resilience. The USS Guardian was a minesweeper that ran aground on a coral reef in the Philippines during 2013, causing extensive damage to the reef. Shipwrecks can also be valuable sources of historical and cultural information, revealing insights into past civilizations, trade, and exploration. When they're damaged or looted by natural causes or humans, they lose their historical integrity and significance. The White Ship was a vessel that sank centuries ago in 1120 off the coast of Normandy, killing the heir to the English throne and triggering a civil war. The wreck has never been located, and it remains a mystery. 3. Radioactive graveyards. Many people are clueless that some of the most radioactive places on Earth are in the water. Radioactive graveyards, where nuclear waste and objects have been dumped or stored in the sea, often lack proper safety measures. They pose serious risks to the environment's health and require urgent attention to prevent future damage. One of the most radioactive graveyards in the world is the Kara Sea, north of Russia. During the Cold War, the Soviet Union used the area as a dumping ground for nuclear waste, including 14 reactors and a whole submarine. These radioactive materials threaten marine life and the fishing industry, as well as oil exploration and shipping. Another radioactive graveyard is the Barents Sea, near Norway and Russia. In it, 2 Soviet nuclear submarines sank. The K-159 and the K-278 both contain high levels of radiation that could leak into the water and contaminate the diverse wildlife. The Pacific Ocean also holds radioactive waste. Several countries conducted nuclear tests during the Cold War, leaving behind radioactive fallout. The most notorious example is Bikini Atoll, where the US detonated 23 nuclear bombs, creating a huge radioactive crater, forcing the local population to move. The English Channel is another victim, where both England and France dumped low-level radioactive waste from their nuclear facilities all the way up until the 1980s. The waste included metal drums, concrete blocks, and even old reactors themselves. The impact of this dumping on the marine environment and human health is still not fully understood. A nuclear power facility called Indian Point ran on the Hudson River for 60 years until 2021, making it another body of water containing radioactive waste. Tritium and other toxins escaped from the facility into the river, which had an impact on the fish population and the overall water quality. Over the years, the site has experienced several accidents and safety issues. 2. Australian box jellyfish. The Australian box jellyfish is a species of extremely poisonous box jellyfish that live in the coastal waters of northern Australia and surrounding regions. It's been described as the most lethal jellyfish in the world, killing at least 64 people in Australia between 1884 and 2021. The Australian box jellyfish has a squarish transparent bell that can grow up to 35 centimeters in diameter. From each of the 4 corners of the bell, there's a cluster of 15 tentacles that can extend out about 10 feet when hunting. The tentacles are covered with millions of cnidocytes, which are stinging cells that can deliver powerful venomous stings on contact. The venom contains toxins that affect the heart, nervous system, and skin cells. They cause excruciating pain, cardiac arrest, and tissue necrosis. One animal reportedly holds enough venom to kill up to 60 grown humans. The Australian box jellyfish is not only dangerous, but also incredibly elusive. It's virtually invisible while in the water, making it hard to detect. It also has a complex nervous system and true eyes, which allow it to move quickly and avoid obstacles. It's most active during the wet season, from November to April, when it gets closer to the shore to breed. The Australian box jellyfish poses a serious threat to swimmers and beachgoers. The best way to prevent stings is to avoid swimming in areas where they're known to visit, or to wear protective clothing like wetsuits or stinger suits. If stung, a victim should seek immediate medical attention and apply vinegar to the affected area. Antivenom is available for severe cases, but it must be administered fast before the venom causes irreversible damage. The Australian box jellyfish is a fascinating but deadly creature that deserves respect and immense caution. 1. Great Pacific Garbage Patch. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch is a massive accumulation of marine debris in the North Pacific Ocean. Stretching across the waters from the west coast of North America to Japan, this patch travels down a complex network of ocean currents, referred to as the North Pacific Subtropical Gyre. Contrary to popular belief, the patch is not a completely solid mass of trash, but actually a scattered expanse of floating plastic and other debris, often difficult to discern even through satellite imagery or simple observation. The majority of the trash is made of microplastics, tiny fragments smaller than a fingernail that pose a significant risk to marine animals. The garbage patch poses multifaceted threats to the environment and wildlife. A 2018 study conducted by the Ocean Cleanup Project estimated that it encompasses a staggering 45 to 129,000 metric tons of plastic, with some pieces dating back over half a century. The entanglement and suffocation of marine animals like turtles, seals, birds, and fish result from this accumulation. Additionally, the plastic releases chemicals into the water, disrupting the food chain and endangering human health. The patch also contributes to climate change by reducing the ocean's capacity to absorb carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere. Research from the University of Hawaii found that plastic debris in the ocean lessens the growth of phytoplankton, microscopic plants crucial for oxygen production. Since these phytoplankton are responsible for about 40% of global carbon fixation, therefore has significant implications for Earth's climate as a whole. The existence of the Great Pacific Garbage Patch is a direct consequence of humans. While a substantial portion of the plastic originated from land-based sources such as littering, improper waste management, industrial runoff, and stormwater discharge, marine-based sources like fishing nets, buoys, ropes, and equipment also contribute to the growth. Alarming trends reveal that the patch is growing rapidly and exhibiting no signs of slowing down anytime soon. Estimates say that its size has multiplied tenfold with each decade since 1945. Also, its influence is reaching to other regions of the ocean, giving rise to similar patches in the Atlantic and Indian Oceans. Addressing the Great Pacific Garbage Patch requires action and global cooperation from multiple countries. It serves as a grim reminder of the consequences associated with our disposable way of life and the profound impact we have on the planet. To confront this crisis, we must re-evaluate our consumption patterns and implement sustainable waste management practices to create a cleaner, healthier future for our oceans and the ecosystems they support. As always, thanks for watching. If you have anything you'd like to add to today's list, we'd love to hear about it in the comments. On your way out, hit that subscribe button. See you next time. Bye.